We talked about Christian before. He is a veteran filmmaker, been making features since 2006. His latest movie is Section 8. He's here to join us and answer your questions. He's going to tell us what it's like to work with Dolph Lundgren, because that's going to be my big question. Christian, thank you for joining us on the Film Threat Livecast. Hey, apologies for earlier, the technical mistake.
It's all good, guys. What's up?
Hey, what's going on? Appreciate you joining us. Yeah, all of the YouTube livecast just like went down all at once.
Oh, weird. That's crazy.
Restart the stream, but we're happy that you're here. I know, appreciate you taking the time to talk to us tonight. Tell us how you put Section 8 together. I shared the trailer with everybody. I want everyone who's watching live, got 350 people watching us live right now.
Nice.
To check out the trailer. But tell us how this whole project came together, and in particular, how you put together such an incredible cast.
Actually, that's really accredited very much to the producer, Brandon Burrows, and they came together. Him and Chad Law, the writer who I'm friends with, who's been a friend for a long time, came to me, and we were just coming out of the pandemic era, right? Of just, there was no bit, Hollywood had really shut down and things were starting to ramp up. And, I had done a couple little flicks during the pandemic, that we're lucky that we did those to keep busy and stuff like that. But this was kind of like the first, kind of real action indie that kind of came my way with a crazy cast and, this really killer script, really. And, they brought to me, I thought it was a really fun, but what really was cool was that for me, dude, it was like, man, I can take this Mission Impossible style actioner, but kind of put a Death Wish, John McClane, everyman quality on it, because that's what, Ryan Quanten's character is. I'm like, that's cool to me. That's something that stood out a little bit and that we could kind of dig in. And it just came. That's how it happened. And then just the execution of it was an interesting thing, because we started it and stopped, and we ended up shooting a lot of it in my hometown and stuff. So it was really fun.
And then, okay, let's talk about the individual cast here. Is it a lot of arm twisting to get these these are veteran action actors too. Dolph Lundgren is just, dude, his hair is the same as when he began his career. It's and I have to admire that. I know. What was it like to work with Dolph, and then just also Mickey Rourke and whatnot? Just a great cast.
They're all super great, dude. I mean, it's funny. It's like I've been asked this a few times, and the cool thing about it is these guys are such pros, and they, going in with legends, it's always an interesting thing, because you kind of go, man, here are these guys that are legends and icons. I've seen them on the screen myself as a fan 1,000 times. I mean, how many times have I seen, Dolph, Rocky IV and all these, and then Mickey and all this stuff. So, but they always are game when they're doing these indie action movies and indie films. I mean, they understand that this is, and it almost feels like they're a little more invested, because they really want it to work and they're really trying, because they don't want it to, they don't want it to suck, right? So they're like, we're really going to try here. We're not, sometimes, I've seen stuff where they just phone it in and taking a paycheck and stuff. But I guess I feel fortunate that this wasn't the case, and they all came to play. They all came to give it, and they were all super, super cool, super professional. Mickey, this was our second time around. So that was an interesting thing. I thought he gave a lot on this one. It was definitely a more emotional thing for him. So it was cool, man. Everybody's really cool, and I kind of keep a very fun, casual set. So I think that definitely helps too.
Did ego ever come into play? Did you ever have to manage your stars?
Yeah, all the time.
You got a lot of questions and comments here in our chat.
Yeah.
So let's go to our chat questions for you. Mike Has Bad Knees says that's a solid cast, and Patrick
I have bad knees too, dude.
Hi, Christian. Scott Slaughterbeck says trailer for Section 8 looks great. Amazing cast.
And the cool thing about the trailer, guys, is no BS. I don't know if we can cuss on this one, but
go ahead.
BS. The trailer is exactly how the movie is. It's not like the trailer's crazy action. The movie is crazy action. So it's not like they took the greatest bits and threw it in the trailer, and we're like, this is a crazy trailer. The trailer is very indicative of the movie, which is cool.
A question for you, Christian. Did you have a struggle between practical effects versus CGI, or was it clear what you wanted to use?
The cool thing, man, again, like the producer was all about practical effects, and I'm like, awesome, let's do that. It's that we rarely get that chance a lot of times. For a lot of reasons, insurance reasons, budget reasons, whatever. And I've always, look, dude, I'm a massive like pyromaniac, dude. So ever since I was a kid, like I was always like fireworks or whatever, going to friggin' Mexico all the time. So anytime we get to blow stuff up for real and use real blanks and use real effects, man, it's a blast. So this one, I think we went through 500-600 rounds on this movie at least.
Wow. Let's see. Love the trailer. I am sold. What was the process of making this film? Asks Solomon Thornton.
With the process of making the movie, they came to me with the script. I thought it was a lot of fun. We started packaging it, and we just started going. We shot a piece of it in LA, kind of like a lot of the flashback scene, the same set as American Sniper and those kind of the sets in Santa Clarita. And then we brought it back. I had a movie in between, which was crazy. I shot another movie in between. We had a break because I had a separate scheduling issue. And Dolph had to do Aquaman too. So we had this weird window that we had to shoot a certain piece with Dolph, Mickey, and these guys. And then we had to break because he had a schedule issue. I had a scheduling issue. And then we came back after that and shot all the Scott Adkins, Ryan, all that other pieces and stuff like that for the movie too. And that we shot that here in in the Coachella Valley in Southern California where I live. And that's where we were able to kind of bring a little bit more production value to this as well with like a casino shootout and stuff like that, which was cool.
Cardinal Sin for 5 asks, how did you cast Mickey Rourke and Dolph Lundgren? And what was it like to work with them on set?
Yeah, the cool Mickey, like I said, we done one already before, so it was cool to come back and have some fun. Dolph, the producer, had worked with on this other like a family Christmas movie. It was pretty trippy, and so he was able to get Dolph in that. So, they weren't working at the same time on the set. They don't share scenes together in this particular movie, but it's great, man. It's always a surreal experience as a filmmaker to work with people that you've grown up like watching and idolizing and been a fan of for so long. It's a cool experience.
Cool. And let's see, question here from Kara. Hello, Christian. It looks good, but how big was the budget? Where'd you get the money from? What was your inspiration? It will be something like protagonists working for certain people and find they are evil. Not sure I understand the last question, but
I think I understand what you're saying. They're saying that like it sucks working with somebody and then finding out they're like don't meet your heroes. Like
right.
That might be the thing. That's happened a few times, and that's really not fun. Where you go, wow, this person really isn't the person I thought. But I mean, that just comes with the business. I think that's just people in general, right? Like, you can go anywhere, dude. I think you can work in any field. You can work at Walmart or whatever. Go, dude, that general manager is a total asshole. That's crazy. He thought he was really nice, But I think it's anywhere. And the budget on this movie, I think IMDb says it's like $4 or $5 million, something like that. So again, that was the producer that brought that together and the sales companies and all that stuff. I'm not really too tied in on the money side on this one.
Flaccid Phoenix says, what scene was the most fun to shoot?
The casino scene, man. I think it's something that I always wanted to do, especially being out here in Palm Springs, where I'm from. And we have, a lot of these casinos out here on the native reservations and stuff like that. We have some really great ones out here. And, I have some friends there. And it's like at the indie level, man, you don't really get to do these kind of sequences. I was friends with them. And it's like to shut down a casino and put extras in there and bring guns and all that kind of stuff in there. It's like I feel like you got to be Michael Bay or somebody to do that kind of sequence. And I was like, I got to put Scott in this kind of 007 Jason Bourne style sequence here. So I just love that sequence, man. It's super cool, looks great, feels good. Scott looks fantastic in it. And then it's just kind of a little, like a little flex as a filmmaker to go, dude, we did a casino shootout because it's been on my bucket list for a second.
Cool. And then Akanika says, what was it like filming in your hometown?
It's a blast. Like, one, you get to sleep in your own bed, which is great. but it is where I started my career. So it's fun when you get to bring sometimes these movies back here. And then also it's just like you guys, wherever you guys are from, it's cool to bring, all these big stars and the circus back to your hometown. And, you get to put your best friends as extras and, your moms or, like your dad's buddies as, guys at the bar, extras. It's just a really fun process. And it really feels like how it felt like when you first started making movies, like with your friends. So it's really fun.
So when we're saying hometown, we're talking Palm Springs then?
Yeah. That's where I'm from. Palm Springs.
Yeah. I mean, cause I do see a lot more films be coming out of Palm Springs. What specifically about Palm Springs makes it attractive for filmmakers? Well,
I think it's 2 hours southeast of LA, so it's close to Los Angeles and Hollywood. Palm Springs Palm Springs really was started as a city because of Hollywood. It was like the Rat Pack and Elvis's Marilyn Monroe, everybody's playground in the 50s. And what's a really cool getaway, destination you can do 2 hours away from LA, get away, come back. So it has a real direct tie into Hollywood. So I think Palm Springs as a whole still has this relationship with Hollywood and Los Angeles. And it's, I think that it's that. And so for me, when I started my career here, a lot of people supported that, and they still do. I couldn't make these movies without them for sure. When I shoot here, it's really fun.
Cool. Oteo says fights looked awesome. Were the fights hard to choreograph? Loved the action.
Yeah, thanks, dude. Yeah, I love the fights too. They're definitely tricky to choreograph a little bit. I mean, Luke Fontaine was a stunt coordinator. Scott, oversaw a lot of the choreography for some of the all the hand-to-hand fights. That was really fun. But yeah, I mean, look, all the hand-to-hand fights is a blast, and the gun battles and all that stuff. So really, really fun.
That's great. Okay, other comments here. Brock Samsonite, would you ever make a movie without a trailer? We talk about this a lot, how trailers ruin movies. Lately, I feel trailers spoil the best parts of a movie. Do you think it's possible to successfully make a movie without a trailer to help sell it?
I mean, gosh, I think you would have to be like, I don't know. I think you would have to be like a giant tentpole for people to just be so invested, like, I'm going to go watch that, whatever. I think for these movies, people really want to know what they're getting into on some level. And, you hopefully don't spoil it. I don't know if this, I don't know. You hopefully don't spoil it. And I think that's just true of just a lot of movies that they put the kitchen sink into the trailer. And then when you watch the movie, you're like, well, I saw all the best parts in the trailer. And that's never fun. And I think at least even me and my, in this small sphere and the indie world and this, that, and the other, we try to make sure that the movie is what the trailer is, and that when you're walking in, there's going to be more delivered on screen than what you see in the trailer. I think that's the case it is for Section 8 for sure.
Yeah. So I don't think there's a way to get rid of trailers. I actually think people like trailers. They just don't like movies to be ruined. And I agree with you. If it was like a new Star Wars movie and they just said Star Wars,
you're like, I'm in.
They could have done that with the sequel trilogy. Question here, kind of an interesting question. Goober says, how do you prevent veteran actors' egos from causing issues on set?
Man, that's a very, I feel like they call me like the crazy whisperer, you know what I mean? Like, like I'm pretty good at managing that. How do you, gosh, I mean, a lot of times it's like preschool, man. How do you make sure everybody's crayons are in the right place? We're sharing. This person needs the right space. I mean, it's a really delicate process, and it definitely is an art form. That's all I'll say,
Cool. And then Flaccid Phoenix asks, what other scenes are on your bucket list to shoot?
Space sci-fi for sure. 100%. Like, I haven't done a sci-fi movie. Like, that's kind of where I'm always hoping the career trajects to. I mean, my all-time favorite movie is Aliens, James Cameron's Aliens. That's like my number one for sure. I'm always the guy that's like trying to work on these movies, this, that, and the other, start trying to get now even in episodic, like, gigantic Star Wars fan, sci-fi action, stuff like that. I just love the genre, and I've never played in that sandbox before. So it's definitely something I want to do.
Cool. And then a couple more questions before we wrap up. Fear the Turtle 21 asks, which directors would you say are your biggest inspirations?
When I first started my career, it was definitely like the Island of Misfit directors of like Tarantino, Rodriguez, those kind of cats. And now it's, I think Tony Scott quite a bit, these kind of dudes. John McTiernan definitely influenced a lot of stuff at the beginning. And now I keep saying, like, now I feel like one of the biggest influences probably like that is like Favreau, like you're talking about a storyteller. And like the dude could do action, he could do this, he could do that, and I think that, and also I feel like personality wise, like we're similar, like we like to cook, we like to do this. It's more just kind of more mainstream. And, I have guys like, why don't you just do this? I'm like, yeah, I just feel like I'm just like a mainstream storyteller. I feel like I could do a thriller, I could do an action movie, whatever. So I always feel like that's a trajectory and a filmmaker that I'm always inspired by. Cause it's like, talk about a guy that like saved the MCU, started the MCU, saved Star Wars. Like, I mean, dude, like his list is insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think Jon Favreau gets enough credit.
No, dude, it's like people don't give him enough credit. You're like, everything you're watching right now is kind of directly correlated to Favreau's like stamp,
And a quick question here. Gandalf identifies as White Wizard asks, where can I watch Section 8? It's in theaters in limited release, if I'm correct, and also available on the AMC Plus app.
Yeah, and it's on digital everywhere right now, too.
Oh, good. So everyone can see it.
Yeah.
Christian, thank you so much for joining us on the live cast today. Apologies from all of us, including
it's all good, dude.
Our live stream went down and we had some confusion, so it's never happened to us before.
Gremlins.
Yes, Gremlins. It does happen. Like, what is it without problems? I mean, that's filmmaking, is solving problems.
That's
all day.
That's all it is, dude. That's all it is.
Yeah. Love it. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much. Check out Section 8. And thanks for stopping by to chat with all of us here on Film Threat. Take care. Later, Christian. Yeah. What a great dude. That was
great.
Awesome.